navigate it the best I can. It gets exhausting. It gets frustrating because I think especially like that's a perfect example of like, yeah, it was a hard foul and it should have been dealt with in the moment and they should have decided what it was then and reviewed it. Great. We move on. You see it happen in the NBA all the time. It's not anything more than that. It's basketball. When I walk out of the locker room, I shouldn't be not fearful of what the conversation is going to be, but you know, you just like, it's emotionally exhausting. It's draining. It makes your shoulders tense because, you know, people don't want to talk about the basketball.
Emotionally exhausting may be the most important phrase in the interview. An athlete can prepare for booze. She can study game film, get stronger, practice against traps, and learn how to handle aggressive defense. But there is no training plan for leaving the locker room and wondering which bigger social conflict will be connected to that night's game. Clark says it makes her tense because people often do not want to talk about basketball. Think about how strange that is. She is one of the most recognizable basketball players in the country, yet she feels the actual sport is often treated as the least important part of her story. The mental pressure is not simply that strangers say negative things about her. Famous athletes have always dealt with criticism and insults. The bigger problem is that she cannot predict how ordinary moments will be interpreted. Clark can control her preparation, effort, and most of what she says publicly. She cannot control whether someone turns a gesture, a foul, a fan's comment, or another player's reaction into evidence about her character. That uncertainty can make every public interaction more difficult. Every answer has to be carefully considered before she says it. Every emotional reaction can be taken out of context. Every disagreement can become much bigger than the basketball issue that started it. The superstar is expected to be authentic while knowing that anything she says could later be used against her. There is also a bigger cost for the WNBA. New fans who are trying to understand the league are often told that every game has some hidden conflict they need to understand before they can simply enjoy the basketball. Instead of discovering rivalries through competition, they are given arguments about which players, fan groups, or media voices they should trust. That might create short-term engagement, but it can lead to long-term exhaustion. Eventually, fans may stop believing that anything can simply be what it appears to be. A hard foul cannot just be a hard foul. A celebration cannot just be a celebration. A bad shooting night cannot just be a bad shooting night. Everything has to represent a conspiracy, prejudice, threat, or larger cultural fight. Clark's response is a rejection of that idea. She wants basketball incidents to be treated as basketball incidents. Review the contact, make the call, enforce the rules, and then let the players move on and compete without turning every possession into a permanent social media trial.
We want to talk about your basketball. That's why you're the star. That's why you're the superstar.
You square the way that you are covered with who you know yourself to be.
Like, I think there's just like a false characterization of who I am sometimes. Like, and I get it, like as a reporter or as a blogger, like you can write an opinion piece and that's your job and whatever. But at the same time, like, you don't know me. Like, we've never had a conversation. I get people have a job to do, but at the same time, like, don't make accusations about my character.
This is the main point. Clark believes the biggest problem is the false image of who she is that has been created by people who have never actually spoken with her. That does not mean people need to personally know her before they can criticize her. Journalists criticize public figures they have never met all the time. The real standard is evidence. Writers can judge Clark's public statements, visible behavior, decisions, and documented actions. What Clark is pushing back against is the jump from those observable facts to confident claims about what kind of person she is deep down. That kind of jump is attractive because it creates certainty. It is easier to say someone is dangerous than to explain that the larger environment around that person can create risks. It is also more satisfying to blame one person than to explain the complicated mix of fame, race, money, fandom, social media, and rapid changes in the league. But Clark is not the entire culture surrounding the WNBA. She does not control every fan who supports her. She does not write every social media post made in her name. She does not choose every TV segment about her, and she cannot control how people react to her success. Public figures can and should speak out when hateful or threatening behavior is brought to their attention. But there is still a difference between asking Clark to use her platform responsibly and blaming her personally for every person who claims to support her. That difference has become blurred because Clark's audience is so large and includes people with very different views. Some fans followed her from college. Some simply love the way she plays. Some enjoy the controversy, while others are casual fans who barely pay attention to the larger debate. Treating all of those people as one ideological group may be convenient, but it is not serious analysis. That is why Clark's boundary is reasonable: debate what she actually does, but do not create an entire moral identity for her and then demand that she answer for it. That is not accountability. It is
I understand
projection.
this is your job and this is your profession and this is what you get to do. And basketball is my profession and what I get to do. And the reason I play it is when I step in between the lines, I love it. And that's what's so fun about it for me is like, I get to compete. This was always my dream and nobody should ever try to take that away from me. Like the love and the joy that I have for the game, and they haven't and they won't, because it's my goal to win championships. And I know that I can help this team do that.
Response ends where it began, with basketball. She says nobody can take away the love and joy she feels when she competes because her goal is to win championships and help her team reach that level. This is more than just a motivational ending. It explains why the criticism has not changed her in the way some people expected. Clark is not leaving the league, starting a war with the media, or accepting the identity that other people have created for her. She is refusing the idea that she has to take part in every argument surrounding her fame. That approach does come with risks. If she stays quiet, other people can speak for her. If she only gives limited answers, some may call her evasive. And if she focuses mainly on basketball, critics may say she is ignoring issues that go beyond sports. But constantly responding carries an even bigger risk because the controversy can become her full-time job, while basketball becomes secondary. Clark seems to have chosen a different path. She will speak up when the situation becomes too serious to ignore. She will admit when something affects her emotionally. She will push back when she believes people are making unfair attacks on her character. She will challenge stories that she believes have moved too far away from reality. Then she will return to the one thing she can actually control, basketball. There is also a lesson here for the WNBA. The league does not need to eliminate disagreement around Clark. That would be impossible and would not be healthy. Instead, there need to be clearer lines between competition, reporting, opinion, and speculation. Officials should make and explain basketball decisions consistently. Reporters should separate confirmed facts from their interpretations. Opinion. Writers should make it clear which conclusions are supported by evidence and which are personal judgments. Fans should understand that supporting one player does not mean they have to attack another. Players should also be allowed to compete physically without every collision turning into a major moral argument.
And I think that sometimes people forget I have feelings. I'm a real individual. I feel things and I have emotions and I get emotional and I get frustrated and I get sad and I get upset. I get happy. I get joyful. And I feel and experience all that stuff. But at the same time, I have really thick skin. And I think also I always try to remind myself is social media is not always reality, and that is really lost on people. And I think we get so down a rabbit hole all the time that you read all these things and you're like, oh, that has to be true, or that has to be what people really think of me, or that has to be what.
Clark also gives the audience a warning about social media. She explains how people can fall into a rabbit hole, read the same claims again and again, and eventually start believing those claims must be true. Social media algorithms make this even stronger because they often reward emotional and extreme reactions. A calm headline saying that reasonable people disagree is unlikely to go viral. But a post claiming that Clark has been exposed, targeted, protected, silenced, or used as a weapon can create an immediate reaction. People click, argue, share the post, and then receive even more content saying the same thing. Before long, each side can create its own version of reality where the other side looks completely unreasonable or even hateful. One group may see every physical play involving Clark as proof that opponents dislike her and that the league is not protecting its biggest star. Another group may see every complaint about those plays as proof that Clark's fans want special treatment and unfairly target black players. Both sides collect examples that support what they already believe, while ignoring information that challenges their position. Clark then becomes the center of an argument that is almost impossible to solve because people are no longer reacting to the same version of reality. That is why her point about social media not being reality is more than just advice about taking a break from the internet. She is explaining how she deals with the difference between the hostility she sees online and the support she experiences in real life. The people at games do not represent everyone, but real-life interactions still provide information that a carefully controlled social media feed cannot. Clark sees children wearing her jersey, hears the crowd cheering, and meets fans who explain what her game means to them. Those experiences do not erase legitimate criticism, but they stop the harshest online opinions from becoming the only story she sees. The same idea applies to everyone watching. A viral post proves that a post went viral. It does not prove that the claim inside it is true or that most people agree with it. A heated argument on Threads or Blue Sky can dominate the online conversation without representing the average fan watching the game. That difference between online intensity and real-life experience explains how Clark can admit that the criticism hurts while still believing her relationship with fans is positive. She is not pretending the criticism does not exist. She is simply refusing to let an algorithm decide how big that criticism really
I
is.
certainly haven't lost the love and joy that I have for basketball. So, and I always try to remind myself, like, I'm here to win a
Her
championship.
final defense is not a press statement. It is the unfinished goal of winning a championship. That is where this whole controversy ultimately comes back to. Every hour spent debating what Clark supposedly represents is an hour that could be spent looking at what she is actually building on the court. Can she lead her team through the playoffs? Can opponents stop her with physical defense and traps? Can her teammates take advantage of the attention she receives? Can she turn individual talent into a championship team? Those are the questions that really matter because they can be answered through competition. They also give Clark the chance to fail, improve, adjust, and prove people wrong without anyone having to guess about her motives. The fair counterargument is that Clark's impact has never been limited to basketball. Her popularity affects money, media attention, attendance, and the way the league is discussed. Writers cannot simply pretend those effects do not exist. Clark also benefits from the attention, even when she dislikes some of the stories that come with it. Greater visibility gives her endorsement opportunities, influence, and a platform that most athletes never get. All of that can be true, but having influence does not make her less human. Benefiting from attention does not mean she has to accept every accusation. Fame does not turn speculation into fact. Clark is not asking to control everything people say about her. She understands that reporters, bloggers, and commentators have jobs to do. What she is asking for is responsibility. Criticize what she actually says and does. Question her decisions. Investigate real problems. But do not create a fictional version of her, give that version certain beliefs, and then attack the real person for accusations built around that fiction. That is why these comments felt different. Clark did not attack one specific player. She did not blame the league for every problem. She did not claim that everyone loves her or that every criticism against her is unfair. Instead, she explained the ongoing cost of being turned into a character inside stories written by people who do not know her personally. Now the choice belongs to the audience. Is Caitlin Clark avoiding responsibility for the larger impact of her fame, or is she right to demand that the media judge her based on what she actually says and does? Put your answer in the comments. Like the video if you want basketball coverage based on facts and evidence, and subscribe for the next breakdown.